That's why some people, I would say some guys don't think if a woman says, "Hey, I don't believe in no religion. I don't practice nothing." They a lot of guys think that, well, it don't matter to them. I would say that's probably not a good idea to think that way. Um, if she grew up in the church, I wouldn't. That's good. At least she has some type of belief. Ooh, boy, I tell you, today, boy, a lot of people don't believe in anything. They don't believe in anything today. A lot of people don't. They don't got no standards, no beliefs. So I'm like, damn. And you wonder why things don't work out for a lot of people. You wonder why things don't work. You wonder why they have so many problems because they everything is based on how they feel and based on what their parents taught them when they were growing up, some shit like that. You know, a lot of people have this idea that their parents said they were great at everything, but once they get out in the world, they realize that they can't compete with a lot of people. Or based on what their parents taught them, it ain't working out. They ain't working out. They're not who they thought they was, and that runs a lot of people crazy. That's why you got a lot of these white guys going postal out here, shooting up the damn school and shit. That's because a lot of their parents failed them. Their parents taught them that they were, I don't know, great, the best at whatever, And once they figure out they can't get no girls, uh, or somebody like me is getting the girls that they want. Oh man, they want to go postal. Then they want to go postal. I'm like, man, hell no, this shit ain't supposed to be like that. Them girls supposed to be for me and me only. Doesn't work out like that all the time. But people that think like that, they don't give a shit. It's, based on what their parents taught them, that's how it's supposed to go at all times. But in the real world, don't work out like that. Nope. Don't work out like that. Don't work out like that, bro. Yeah. It don't. The world is going to show you who you are at some point. Regardless of what your parents taught you growing up, the world is going to show you who you are, how good you think you are, based on your results that you've gotten over a certain length of time. That's how that works. Yeah. But, I think in today's time, I wouldn't shy away from dating a Muslim woman, But most of the time, you usually have to know somebody. You usually have to get introduced. I would say the chances of you approaching a Muslim woman at a store or some shit like that. Well, first of all, most of them are married. Most of them are married. That's the first thing you gotta always keep in mind. But there's some single. But the chances of you approaching a Muslim woman in a store and her being single and you get the phone number is very slim chance of that happening. It's a possibility, but most of them tend to be married. They tend to be taken already. If she's in her 30s, she's probably married. 40s, yeah. But You probably gotta need. You probably had to date younger. If you, let's say you're in your 30s, you probably had to meet a girl that's late, a Muslim girl that's late 20s. More than likely, they'll be single. You know, unless she's a widow or something like that. Unless she's a widow, her husband died or whatever, and if her, she's probably looking to be married again at some point. But for the most part, most of them are married. That's in the 30s, 40s. But if they're gonna be single, it's probably gonna be in the 20s. You know, and you're probably gonna have to be introduced, and that's usually how it go. Now unless you're in college or taking some type of class, I've seen that happen. You know, you could probably meet a Muslim woman like that. But if you think you're gonna run up on her on the sidewalk or some shit like that, or at the grocery store, that's highly unlikely to happen. You usually have to meet them like inside at an event, um, school, universities, through somebody, something like that. Um, that's usually how it goes. They don't. You're not gonna meet them at no club. They don't go to clubs, bro. It's usually places that Muslim women usually hang out places that are productive, positive thinking, productive environments where people are trying to do better, live better, just become a better person. So that's usually where they hang out at. And they not hanging around no place with alcohol. At the club, no, no place with alcohol, drugs, no, Yeah, the guys might be there, but you ain't trying to get the guys, so that don't matter. But yeah, I think it's a good idea. Now, if you live in a big city like New York, Chicago, L.A., Houston, even Miami. I've seen Muslim women in Miami. There's a bunch of them in the big cities. Yeah, but even then, most of them are still married. Most of them are still married. So it's probably the best. Probably your best bet is to get to know some of the Muslim guys. That's probably your best bet. If you're really serious about meeting dating a Muslim chick, probably your best bet is to get with a Muslim guy, get to know them or whatever, and over time, ask them, hey, you know any single women? 9 times out of 10, the answer is gonna be yes. 9 times out of 10, the answer is gonna be yes. He's gonna know some single women because they go to the mosque weekly. They go to the mosque every week. So 9 times out of 10, he's gonna know some single women. And what I found? A lot of Muslim women, you might work with some of them. I've worked with some of them, but they have to take the fez off. Some of them keep the head wrap on, but some of them have to take it off, and they have to dress in a suit, like business casual, because of the job. I ran into that too. I remember I used to work at UPS with a woman like that. I thought she was East Indian, to be honest, but I saw her name. And I said, okay, her name, it could be East Indian, or, it could be, she could be from the Middle East somewhere. And she was from Dubai. And she said, she can't, she got to dress business casual, just for the job. But she said in her regular life, she would have on the fez. Like, She said if she wasn't at work, she have on. If you see me at the grocery store, she said I have on the feds. I'll be wrapped up. You wouldn't even see. She said she covered her face. All you can see is her eyeball. You know, she was a pretty cool chick. Um, I thought she was from East India, but I was wrong. She's from Dubai. But she had a nice body. You know, she's pretty cool. She was she was all mixed up. She was brown. She was very brown skinned. You know, she's a little lighter than me. I'd say that. But yeah, but she was married. She was married. You know what I'm saying? And I asked her, hey, you know any people? You know anyone that's single? And she was like, no, she didn't know anybody. Maybe she might have lied. I don't know, but whatever. But there's some women you might work with. Could be Muslims. You just don't know. But based on their name, especially the last name, it could be. You know what I'm saying? Because see, the last name is very important. Well, in that part of the world, the first and last name, you can kind of tell where people are from in the eastern part of the world or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they're still women, and they care about family. They want to start a family. They want to have kids. They want to be a wife. The same old shit. Now, how they go about doing it, it's a little different. I gotta plug my phone up. Hold up.